the success, if we want to call it that, of the US operation in Venezuela has really emboldened the White House. They feel like they can really quite push the envelope in terms of what's possible for their foreign policy goals here in the region. I think it's important to analyze this because if you look at documents like the National Security Strategy that was published not too long ago, it clearly points to a refocusing of attention to this hemisphere, to Latin America, to the Western Hemisphere. I think my hypothesis here is that it's a strategic retreat. I think they've realized that the fight for global hegemony cannot be won in this moment. They have a peer rival in China. China has extraordinary influence throughout the world, but also particularly in Latin America. There's only a handful of countries. Off the top of my head, I believe it's Paraguay, Colombia, and Mexico, who their number one trading partner is the United States. And practically for all the rest of the countries, it's China. And so they've decided to retreat strategically to try to rebuild their forces in order to, in a future moment, dispute global hegemony again, right? They're not going to give up on that fight. And so, they engage in these actions. They've interfered in elections, for example, in Honduras, in Argentina. They are happy to see some of the results in other places, like in Chile, where a far-right actor is about to take office there. And so they're really pushing for more. And I think part of why we're seeing, these aggressive actions against Cuba is around that, right? And so around the feeling like they can get away with it. And so they're going to continue to kind of head in this direction to try to exert more and more influence here in the region. And I think part of that, and it requires a self-criticism from the region's leaders here, which is that clearly the institutions that are meant to protect peace, to protect sovereignty here in this hemisphere have totally failed. They have not been able to rise to the occasion.